Greetings on this spectacularly beautiful day once again. I referred to something in the last Linkin Park video, but the videos on the songs generally have lower number of views for whatever reason, but I say things in there that sort of go beyond the actual song, so I'm going to reiterate a point here. It's incredible what happens. I'll just give you a bit of a backstory. I don't know if it was directed at me personally, being called a clown. I watched as an observer this debate between this Cullen guy and Santos Bonacci, and I thought, well, take the neutral view. And all I did, I'm not saying it's one or the other, because the whole argument falls apart, which I will demonstrate. But on the one hand, the point was argued, and a sort of a denial of, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know that you even understand the question yourself, aimed at Santos. And this guy is dismissing what Santos is saying about flight times in both directions being the same. And then, like, the next thing, this Cullen character is using the same argument to justify his perspective. So it's not consistent. And it's amazing what goes on. I mean, we all have different perceptions and things. I've had some quite vicious, almost insulting, or would be insulting emails if I took them personally, being compared to a beaker of green bile. Well, you got the green colour, the green energy, right? And I need to clarify a few things here. If you're putting me in the role of being evil and having blood on my hands, well, have not all of us got blood on our hands? You think you haven't got blood on your hands? I beg to differ. Okay, I'm going to play the role of the accuser, and I include myself in this because I'm as guilty of it. It's not a case here of he who is without sin cast the first stone. This is one with sin who is casting a stone, but is honest enough to say that I am with sin from this point of view. Those of you that have got married, you didn't read the small print. You've brought in a third party called a government for a licence to get married. If you look at the terms and conditions, it says that any product of that union is owned by the state, so effectively you have agreed and already sold your own children. You've also committed murder. You've consented to murder if you have allowed the umbilical cord to be clamped. So just think about this. So when I've called out people generally, not aimed at anybody specifically, and said if they've taken the needlecraft, they are effectively an abomination. How they react to that, well, that's up to you how you feel about what's said. If you want to have herd mind and herd mentality, then you will get prodded with a cattle prod. Because if you're going to be a sheep and allow shit to stick to your wool, well, and you're letting it absorb within yourself, and you're feeling a fear that you are an abomination, well, hang on, this is a wake-up call. You've got the internet there. You can look into the ingredients of these things. You can look into ways of eliminating these toxins out of your body. Just look at this. Look at the sky. Christine on Dream Universe pointed this out. Blue skies, no clouds, and yet it's hazy. There's metal particles in the air which we're all breathing in. As Thomas Sheridan has said, what's being played out is the Aztec ritual of sacrificing to the sun gods. So they're giving you your freedom, and you're going on holiday, you're going up in the air. There's a problem with blood clots and altitude sickness. This is nothing new. There was always deep vein thrombosis being talked about before any of this shit. So there was always an issue with altitude anyway, but there's manipulations to encourage such things, shall we say, which seems to be quite evident. Now, if we look at nature, the rest of nature, it starts with a seed and it fulfills its potential. Generally, if the conditions are right, whatever it happens to be, I'm not making a judgment over whether it's a weed or a flower, because what some people call weeds have beautiful flowers, and as you can see, the bees obviously don't see them as weeds. It's collecting pollen there, and it fulfills its function. These seeds grow and do what they're meant to do. Now, when you bring into a consciousness and humanity, it seems to fall apart and go horribly wrong. Now, I will defend anything, and this is an extension of the days when people would ridicule what would be classed as disabled people that have a class as impairments, either physically or mentally, and like, ha ha ha, look at that stupid person over there, that sort of nasty, it's not even humour, I don't even what you'd call it now. But when it's willful ignorance, that's a different matter. That's a completely different matter, because when you are saying, well look, hold on a minute, before you consent to something, have a look at this, and it's like a birth certificate, for example, it tells you clearly at the bottom, in block capital letters, not to be used as proof of ID. And what is used for getting a bank account, a driving licence or whatever. It's adopting a legal fiction. So going back to this point of Earth, what shape is the Earth, for example? The question is totally irrelevant. Why? Let me put it this way. Now, assume I'm Alexa and you're going to tell me all about thought. What is it? Where it comes from? Do you think you can do that? So now I ask you about what is a human. Is it just contained within this physical thing? Or is there far more to it? Now, apply that also to the Earth. What are you classing as Earth? Are you just classing the physical material, or are you looking at the greater, the universal? Are you seeing it from a higher perspective with this? I mean, what about this dome, the ether, and so on? Where does that come into it? Likewise, feelings, thoughts. Point to them. Show me what a feeling, what a thought is. Show me on a map where these states are. And I'm not talking about political states like Texas and Dakota and whatever. I'm talking about states of joy, states of happiness, states of sheer terror, states of fear, and everything in between on that spectrum. Which state are you in? Show me on a map. Do you see how this all falls apart? Now, in the conspiracy world, there's a lot of talk of this, things like Council of 300. Your physical vessel is made up of, 30 trillion cells? Within each cell will be a microcosm that makes up the whole. Because when you feel something, do you not feel it all over? Or you can feel it all over. You can feel something in the pit of your stomach. You can feel pure joy all over. You can feel extreme happiness that affects your whole body. But point to me and show me the physical thing called feeling. Where is it? Are we then to say it doesn't exist? But there's also a key in this. Because if I talk about thought, you know straight away, or you have your interpretation of what thought is, because you've already experienced thought. You all experience feelings. This reality is presenting to you things in a very twisted way. It's interesting at the moment how this whole topic seems, I've noticed on videos coming up in feeds about clowns and DMT trips and seeing these jesters and jokers and things. Well, yeah, I'm a joker. I'm just pointing out the bloody obvious. And all I'm saying is, well, look, here's the physical thing. This is what it's based on. It's taken from a metaphysical and twisted and given back to you in a very twisted form. So see the mirror and see the reflection. It changes your whole perception of this reality. I'm talking from experience of this. Things that would have bothered me at one time when I'd have been straight up there with the ego to defend. No, I don't need to defend. You just carry on and do whatever. It doesn't affect me. It's the same with the hair. You start just using water and the natural oils. Your hair will self-cleanse. Your body is self-healing. It is self-repairing. If you stop putting the shit in it, he says, smoking. But again, smoking is not... You're not being told the truth about that. I'll refer you to a Rudolf Steiner one on that one. There is no one-size-fits-all with anything. The messages I put out on a public platform are not intended for everybody. A lot of people will not understand. It doesn't mean a thing. It sounds nonsensical to them because they're seeing it from a material perspective. But that's where I can't force anybody to do anything. I find myself currently observing what is potentially a very volatile situation. Now, I can feel fear from that, or I can observe it and I can just embrace and feel what I know is already true and has been shown to me over and over again, that we are not affected unless we allow the things to affect us. But don't be fooled that you cannot be damaged. If you allow something through willful ignorance, then so be it. I mean, what do you do, for example, as a parent with a child that is intent on touching that oven door, although you've warned them and told them that it's hot, they're going to get burnt? Well, sometimes the best way is to let them get burnt so they learn the hard way. And that's what this reality is all about. You can't save everybody. You're not here to save everybody. You're only here to save yourself. You're here to find out who you are. Be still and know that I am God, basically. You create the reality around you. So I'm taking credit that I have created, and I have wished for beautiful weather, because yesterday, Friday was like this. Saturday and Sunday, or Sunday and Monday were over. Yes, that's it, sorry. Sunday and Monday were overcast and grey and the temperature was a lot lower. I wished for and wanted to experience more beautiful weather, and we've got a beautiful summer's day again. But a lot of you say, oh, it's just coincidence, you didn't do that. Well, believe what you want. I have no doubt, this is critical, no doubt in my mind or in my heart mind. I'm being shown things over and over again. But it comes down to that saying as well. If you look to the sky, the birds will precede you. If you look to the sea, the fish will precede you. Because if you're looking for specific things, the algorithms are going to give them to you. So if you're looking for more mud floods, you're going to find more mud floods. If you're chasing 1111 number sequences, you're going to find them. But keep in mind, they might actually be leading you somewhere worthwhile. Just go with the flow. Be still and know that I am God. And I'm not talking about this physical vessel personally. I'm talking about this as an expression that you need to implant in yourself, because you are a co-creator. You're a microcosm of a macrocosm. There are things that are talked about like Kronos and it being evil, and things being subject to time in this realm. But time is also a healer. It's a duality, it's a reflection. It's you can see the beauty in it. You can also see the monstrosity and the opposite polarity in this external screen. How you react to that, the feelings you import from that, and how it affects your internal being, that's down to you. So I have no need to feel remorse. I stand by what I've said. I'll let it be on public record. But keep in mind that this time, yes, I've looked at a lot of conspiracy theories, but we've moved way beyond that now. I understand, I know from the experience of what the universe is. It's within one. It's within you as much as it is within me. If you don't accept that, that's because you have not found it within you. But from my perception of things and from the experience of doing these things, I'm saying it would do you no harm. You will only benefit from finding the I amness in you. Forget all the hierarchical, external programming about this. But yeah, there's going to be a lot that are going to be taken with the external script and follow that route. Well, so be it, if that's the way they want to go. If they can be helped, then good. But if they're willfully ignorant and want to carry on chasing that, that's fine. Anyway, next video we'll return back to carry on the Linkin Park songs. Again, it's very much part of the process with the next 2 or 3 songs of this internal wrestle with your own ego. It's expressed as Daniel wrestling with the lion, the lying, the external world. You're wrestling with the lying that's being presented you as truth about wars and conflicts and this and that and all these disasters. But just look at the word program. When it is with a computer, it is a program ending in an M. But when it is a television, it's a program with an ME on the end. There's a reason for that. It's not programming a computer, is it? It's programming something that is within a biological vessel, carrying on this misleading path. But the path is a very narrow one. It's yin and yang. It's that fine line that separates the white from the dark that you can't see because it is hidden by the dark, but it is there. And you have to be wise as serpents in this reality. So acknowledge your serpent side, if that's where you want to think of it as. But effectively that is what you are. You're an eternal spirit. If you had a physical form, you would be a brain and a spine. You would resemble a sperm anyway. You would look like a serpent. But there is far more that is not in the physical realm. So let's talk about the shape of the earth. Let's bring in the metaphysical. Let's bring in what you can't see with the 5 senses. Now what shape is the earth? Really, come on. Get over this stupid bloody shit. And if you want to explore a universe, look at the one inside you. That is amazing. And the answers are all in there that you seek. Seek and ye shall find, but do it internally, not externally. Yes, it's fascinating, and we interact with the external. The world's a stage, and I'm quite happy to play the part of a clown, because I'm having fun. And I do laugh at stupidity, right or wrong, but not stupidity because people don't know. Stupidity at willful ignorance of thinking, hang on a minute, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening to me? Well, the answer is always to look at yourself as to why it keeps happening to you. We're magnetic energy, so what you put out, you draw towards you. So I question this, like, why am I seeing all this? It feels now to me that I know why I find myself in Scotland. It is for external reasons, as much as internal reasons. It is to try and help other people. But it is also part of this school of life where, by observing and not actually taking part, I know that it's going to come into to be hugely beneficial in the future, in the same way that the things I uncovered in family history was just a stepping stone and leading on to something much greater than what it first appears to be. Going through anxiety, going through panic attacks, going through severe depression is an empowering experience. The weight of the world will give you the strength to keep going. When you get to the end of that chapter of your life story, and you no longer living in that moment which is now the past, and oh, that's a terrible thing, it's affecting my life now. No, you're allowing it to affect your life now. But if you can see the positive and why that thing happened to you and what that has taught you, that is hugely empowering, because now when somebody comes to you and says, I'm suffering with anxiety or depression, you're not going to turn round to them and say the most ridiculous thing of cheer up. Because that comes from a person who has not had the experience of going through depression. Nobody will know what it's like until they've been through it. And it is not nice. But you can come out the other side of it. And it's empowering because you're in a position to help others. It's a very subtle tiptoe thing when you do come out of it. You don't even realise you're coming out of it. And then there comes a day when you think, hey, 3 months ago I couldn't do this, but now I can. This is all a huge learning curve, this reality. But you can embrace whatever, you can be wherever you want in it. You can be in the state of fear. You can be in the state of terror. You can be in a state of conflict. You can be in a state of war. Or you can be in a state of paradise. You can be in a state of happiness. You choose what state you want to be in. But I bet you can't tell me the physical location of that state. Because if you're experiencing, say, joy, are you the only one in joy? Or are there other people? But are they in the same physical location where you're experiencing and being in joy? You see how this perception of this reality changes when we really just... And it's not thinking, it's non-thinking, it's just observing, it's allowing the images to come. That thing called thought, where does it come from originally? I don't know. Source, I'm going to say. The source of everything. But how it gets here and how it manifests, I've no need to question it because I've seen the magic of it. What I do with those thoughts, now that's where the co-creator part comes in. That then outplays on this stage. So, yeah, so just ask yourself, go within, do the meditation, do the inner work, as it's called. Again, it's not something I can implant in you, I can only describe from a personal experience, but you will benefit from it, persevere with it. It's no different from when you've had that desire and wish to learn to walk, or to master turning a door handle, to go into another room, to go into a whole new world that you've never seen before. Remember, it's a micro and a macrocosm. There's a physical outplay to it. And what is perceived to be evil, if you look at it and see it in the right way, you can see what it's really showing you, what these media scripts are showing you. It's still showing you a spiritual truth for you to find. It's just doing it in a very negative way. So, I might as well say, I had 4 tyres slashed on my car. Yeah, minor inconvenience. It didn't affect me personally. It wasn't aimed at me personally. But no point getting angry at it. What did I do? I got a Pyrex oven dish and I cleaned it. I got all the tar off of it and I channeled what it's not even anger, because I wasn't even, it's water off the duck's back. It's like the natural oils on the hair. The shit would just slide off. It doesn't affect me. But we'll put it into something productive and use the time in a benefit way. I mean, it's not even my oven dish, it's somebody else's, so I'm doing it for somebody else. So I'm giving out in a small way as well. And we can all do that. Train going by. Do like trains, I do find them fascinating, but still no desire to go on one. We've had the experience of that, so I don't need to do it again. But of the material world, I quite like the rhythmic sound when they go past it, in a way. It reminds me of this mechanical AI pulse of this reality. But I find it a pleasing, positive aspect from this material world as well. So, but that's a whole another question if we think about how what we're told is history, the Wikipedia, about there was people who opposed railways, these monstrosities, and obviously it did change the environment, and probably not for the better. But do you want a wrecking ball approach to demolishing a civilization which will be chaos and destruction and lots of dust, or do you want a very slow, controlled dismantling that will actually be far more beneficial, and it won't be bloodshed and loss of life? I would opt for that nice, controlled, bringing things down in a nice way that is going to cause minimal disruption to people in an adverse way. Anyway, that's me talked long enough. What are we up to here? I can't see the screen in probably about 25 minutes. Anyway, so I wish you all a beautiful day, and ta-ta for now.